What's up, Elon holders? Welcome back. Doing another update on the Dogelon Mars token. We know that as none other than ticker symbol Elon. Gotta let you know, I'm not a financial advisor. Never WhatsApp anybody in my comments. Also, do drop a big like on this video. It's going to help get exposure on the Dogelon Mars project, the Dogelon Mars mission, and most importantly, the Dogelon Mars community. Also, do consider subscribing. It's going to help keep you up to date on cryptocurrency news and all things Dogelon Mars. And you can even win yourself some NFTs in the process. In fact, these are actually still minting out right now. You can mint one for yourself for 0.005 Ethereum using the link in the description. And if you were trying to use Crypto.com DeFi wallet, you do have to sign in with MetaMask. I just want to make that announcement. For some reason, they need you to sign in with MetaMask. That's the only way for it to go through. If you guys have tried before, that was the issue. Let's get into the day. We are currently ranked 156 right now. It does look like 602591 is our current price tag, with that being 2.5 or 0.25% up on the day. Not bad. 108 or 1.8 million traded over the last 24 hours. Market cap sitting about 141 million. Not bad, especially the way we've been trading. It does seem that this project does hold its own very well. When we see projects that just keep bleeding out and going further and further lower, it is really unfortunate. And this happens to be one of those projects that is not doing that, despite it being a meme project or labeled as a meme project. We know that it is a mission token and there is 100% a mission tied behind it. But it's very nice to see when we are looking at this project that we just don't we hold the line very well. We hold and we increase in holders. Even better to see. Looking at a bit of analysis, we do have 18% of people in money and pretty nice concentration. Very nice information. We will go on over to Investor Observer, where we do have a 40 in the short term technical score, but a 69 in the long term. Not bad. It does put us above 40% of cryptos on the market and above 69% of cryptos in the long term. Risk gauge looking like it is more towards green, and sentiment sitting right about the middle. Volatility is sitting about a 34. 1.89 traded over the last 24 hours and 13.26 million traded over the last week. Overall sentiment in crypto, however, is neutral and down 0.01%. And that's probably why we get this article, Dogelon Mars rises 1.15%, outperforms the crypto market Thursday. It does look like Dogelon Mars Elon has been relatively average in terms of volatility when compared to other cryptos. So we have a 34, which we do know has increased since then. We do our support is set at the 602504 range, and resistance is set at 602643. Positions Dogelon Mars with potential selling pressures ahead if it may be getting overextended. So definitely just something to watch out for. 5-day prediction, it does look like 602429. 1 month prediction of 602590. 3 month prediction of 604647. And a whopping 501311 in the 6 month, and 501674 in the next year. Not bad. We've had some news today coming from the Alliance for Longevity Initiatives that they actually apologized for the late notice, but regret to inform you that the September policy discussion with Peter Thiel today has been postponed. They will be making an announcement, and I just wanted to let you guys know what is going on. They have postponed the discussion. It's going to be a Zoom meeting. So we did get another announcement from the legendary Ash Bandicoot. Hey everyone, I know that there has been a ton of questions regarding the summit, as well as some more insight regarding the ELONGEVITY protection plan. More details about the plan will follow in the coming weeks, and I'm sure we will be able to schedule some time to host a voice discussion to answer any further questions. For now, if anybody would like to read it, I have written some feedback from my perspective as an Elon holder attending the summit, if any of you would like to read. And very awesome stuff. And if you don't want to read it, well, guess what? We're going to read it today. This is actually the Longevity Summit Dublin 2022 feedback written from the perspective of a complete longevity noob for fellow holders in the Dogelon Mars community. Many of you have reached out to me since attending the Dublin Longevity Summit wanting some answers or clarity about what I had learned. Some questions were about certain longevity treatments, others were whether or not the Dogelon Mars token devs were in attendance, whether Beeple, Elon, or Vitalik showed up, or whether there was an Enigma NFT reveal. I decided that instead of replying to each one of you, I would give you all some feedback from the perspective of someone who was, for the most part, had absolutely no background in longevity or medicine, but who had somehow managed to become a little less poor because she had aped into a meme token whilst having her last 2 brain cells in mortal peril. It's always difficult to begin writing, especially when you have a horde of people with unanswered questions waiting for just a crumb of intel. I got thinking about the themes that were involved in the Dogelon Mars Methuselah Foundation, and it was nothing short of, well, epic. We have the theme of treasures beyond our wildest dreams, and we have the theme of encountering strange characters along the way. Our beautiful Elon community, we have the theme of exploring the stars, and now a very real theme of I'm gonna exaggerate immortality. I suppose I could do a lot with these, but how does one properly capture the essence of what I experienced in Dublin and what I could tell you that would make you share my sentiment that our investment is in excellent hands? The first day of the summit really had me surprised by the casualness of it all. What had I really expected? Lab coats, formalities. I was received by our host, Aubrey de Grey, a man I am sure everyone in our community is familiar with at this point. Did I expect him to be chugging a beer while the other keynote speakers shared their research and prospects with us? It was odd, but it was welcoming. From my very first encounter with these people, I really felt as though they were a family. It was heartwarming, but also encouraging that this family, the Global Ruiz family, had taken to devoting their lifestyle to longevity, but not at the expense of actually living a really happy and full life. Methuselah was in no way chasing any profit, but leading this movement with integrity to this cause. This brought me comfort about the amount of money I invested in Dogelon Mars. They are the real deal. Sergio thought it would be an excellent idea to introduce the Dogelon attendees to Mr. de Grey. Up until this point, all I have ever noted about Aubrey was the reverence everyone else had for him, both in our community and amongst the longevity enthusiasts I encountered the night before. What stood out to me about him is that he made the time to get to know each one of us. He was very curious about what we do in the Elon community. I suddenly felt an overwhelming sense of imposter syndrome, something I have struggled with for some time in our community, but also everywhere I seem to be. Sergio said the dreaded words community manager, and it felt as though a thread of crude, vulgar, sexualized interaction and memes with several of our community members flashed through my mind. Then, of course, Aubrey's next question was, what exactly does a community manager do? I was frozen. What does a community manager do? By definition, a community manager is someone who engages with the community, harvests interaction and feedback, communicates on behalf of the developers and investors. Sure, I helped out with this a few times, but in my own opinion, not as well as other community managers have. Perhaps it showed in that moment, but I never felt more inadequate about being there. There were so many other leaders in our community that would have grabbed the opportunity to engage and shield in that moment, and I felt like I may have fumbled the bag. The next day was a full day of graphs, research, feedback, and science that went well over my head. I tried to stay as engaged as I could, but to be fair, the only real thing I could take away from it all was that these guys were close, really close. Before attending this summit, I may have had crazy doubts about the lofty goal Methuselah set out to make 90 the new 50 by 2030, but in front of us all was the evidence of experiments and innovations that seemed to be already working. There was one thing that confused me though, as I watched as each organization came forth to announce the start of another organization, and each group announced a brand new innovation to tackle health span and lifespan from a new angle. It very quickly became overwhelming. Yes, we had a few drinks the night before once more, but that's not the point. It seemed to be that there were just so many variations of skinning this longevity cat. I did beg the question though, and that was, why was the world not yet going crazy about longevity and geroscience? If their conclusion are out there, if we can solve some of the issues that I am sure affect each of us as individuals in our community, why has it not reached the mainstream media? Much of the relief of my mundane brain, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Mahmood Khan had stepped onto the stage around midday. He introduced himself as someone who is new to longevity scene, and that he had no research or graphs to display in his time with us that day. Thank God. I felt it was a good of time as any to pay attention to what he had to say. I remember thinking that this man may well be the only man that I might be able to understand that day. Little did I know that Dr. Khan would spark something in me that I never thought of before, while also somewhat triggering an answer to the question that Aubrey had posed in the day prior: what is a community manager? And suddenly I knew this was the message that needed to be carried through the community more than any other. Dr. Khan addressed the average researchers seeking investment for their bold ideas. He called them out in the most eloquent way possible, while addressing the people that ought to have been there. He made mention of the fact that none of what we had spoken at the conference would mean anything if the science did not reach the end user. And how would it do that? It isn't as though someone would concoct the elixir of life to eradicate all age-related diseases. No, this was not a one-size-fits-all dilemma to solve. The greatest challenge in this field, to make serious headway without longevity being only accessible to the most fortunate in society, would be to engage with the everyday Joe, the Ash Bandicoots, Liberties, Daniel Elons, and Theos. I had the sudden and overwhelming sense that I actually deserved to be there. And as I listened to the middle-aged man share some dire truths in a room full of geniuses, investors, and enthusiasts whom I probably never be able to at all least intellectually spar with, I realized how true this was. There is no way I would be able to afford to give my grandmother the experimental lizard potion to regrow her limbs if she lost any to diabetes. But did that mean that this was an entirely impossible dream? I didn't have to search very far to realize that there is already a group of over 100,000 end users that hang on every word Methuselah Foundation has posted since the Olympus Mons pledge was released. This sent my mind into a frenzy, a bullish one. Methuselah Foundation, enabled by Dogelon Mines, was the only organization in the room with immediate access to carry the narrative to the everyday Joes. We as a community had the most able infrastructure to receive this message and engage accordingly. It mattered in that moment because no matter how many more doctors, scientists, and researchers would step out of the stage from the remainder of the summit, whether anyone cared to see or not, the Methuselah Foundation had the upper hand in so many ways. The ELONGEVITY Protection Plan could very well be the key. While admittedly, I already knew that David Goebel would be announcing the intention to launch the Longevity Protection Plan, I had not fully grasped the full perplexity of this program until I arrived home from Dublin. If I were smart enough to have realized it while listening to Dr. Khan's talk, it would have been a eureka moment for my dear diary. One that I would not easily have forgotten. And had that happened, I would have engaged with even more of the attendees to express how incredibly excited I was that all their hard work could be harnessed into an ethical, curated, clinical solution that cared only for the achievements of the true end goal, health span and life extension. A self-sustaining, revolutionized tool whose intentions are solely for the benefit of its members, to a larger extent, humanity. Every profit paid towards this plan gets funneled back into the perfecting the science, and this same science evolving based on the participation of members who have decided that instead of paying monthly premium for death benefits they would never personally utilize, they would pay a premium to get a chance at a longer and healthier life. It meant that I could be empowered to truly make my life, however long that it might be, into my own hands if I wanted to. I could connect with people, a hoodle, who aligned with a specific longevity treatment, and we could work together to eradicate age-related diseases together. As a crypto community with an ever-evolving ecosystem, this type of fraternal order is not entirely foreign to us. We know if implemented correctly, it would work. But what does this mean for our Dogelon Mars investment? Well, as many of us are already extremely bullish about it, when the plan is officially launched, I would expect that the more widespread the adoption is, the bigger the token utility. Even if you decide not to partake in this scheme, I am willing to bet that the successes of this plan overall would certainly improve the health of any Elon holder's portfolio. It is pretty inspiring to think that we, as the crypto aspects to the vision of Methuselah Foundation have for their holdings, were the privileged participants to bring forth the convergence of crypto longevity in space. We now have the opportunity to evolve as the utility of our token evolves. This convention, coupled with the release of the ELONGEVITY protection plan, is the perfect introduction to longevity science for those of you who, like me, had no clue how to participate or engage in this narrative. In this evolution, we are consistent in remaining organic and decentralized, which in today's society could be seen as a healthy example of how cryptocurrency and its possibilities are limitless. Which brings me back to the question Aubrey de Grey had. He asked me on the first day of the summit, what is a community manager? While I know it is probably much too late to inform Mr. de Grey of what it is, I or any other Dogelon warriors do for the community, if I had the second chance, I would tell him that I could not possibly manage Dogelon Mars community in much the same way any other admin here would dare try to manage me. I think the reason for the imposter feeling was the managing implies that anyone with a title would be above the rest, which reminds me of the point Dr. Khan tried to illustrate to the group of longevity advocates, intellectuals, and professionals who had most likely been familiar with each other for years. What we managed to figure out as a group of mostly degenerate apes, where the majority of us have never even met. To conclude, my previous statements about Dr. Khan helped answer this questions. I thought back to how he implored the room of already accomplished men and women that if we are to take what was presented here to the next level, the longevity community would need to do away with the mentality that there will be one superstar or leader among them would bring forth the revolutionary cure to live longer and healthier. This point really hit home because it is something that could be applied in any field. In our Dogelon Mars community, for example, I could not pinpoint a single person who stands out as a clear-cut manager, leader, or superstar. With the very few interactions I had with the developers of Dogelon Mars token, who, before you ask, are still anonymous to me, but have been gracious enough to answer my persistent questions under their internet handles. I sense the same enthusiasm to let this digital organism exist in its own right, for by its holders and completely decentralized, we are surviving the bear market gracefully without any staking mechanism, NFTs, or major listings. I challenge anyone reading this to find another token, another longevity organization, or another community that has replicated our formula for success. Well, if that reads like an ode to Ulysses, blame Ireland. I do not want to say, though, that I had never felt more empowered, enabled, or grateful by the decision to buy and hold this token. If I haven't said it before, I love interacting with every person in our community who has taken the time to share similar sentiments with me. I am happy to grow here and I want to stay here to see where this goes. I am very encouraged to take better care of my health, so I know the longevity protection plan is something I am most willing to participate in. And it would mean so much more if I were able to share a HOODL with the Martians who stuck it out this far. HOODL is a play on crypto war cry HODL, which means holding on for dear life. When announcing the ELONGEVITY protection plan, Dave Goebel adopted this as the rallying cry for the ELONGEVITY protection plan. So HOODL, holding united for dear life. He also explained that a HOODL, or HOODLs, as there will most likely be many of these formed under the plan, will be the collective used to describe a group of 120 members of the ELONGEVITY protection plan who have an aligned focus and vision on what it means to achieve longevity. So, wow, very major updates A lot of major updates going on for the project right now. Let me know in the comments below how you feel that the longevity protection plan will benefit the Dogelon Mars project. Alright, I thank each and every one of you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.